Hello, my name is Joshua Rudd of Rudd's Home Farm, and today we're going to talk to you about whether you should or should not thin your hydroponic plants. Stay tuned to find out more. So over here we have Butter Crunch lettuce. They were all planted about the same time, maybe a week or so apart. And over here on this left tray, these plants have been thinned out to single plants. These plants right here have been cut once already. You can see where I've cut them. And you can see the foliage is already coming back. This is about a week ago I cut this. And you can see how beautiful this Butter Crunch head of lettuce is. This is one plant. Very beautiful. Very gorgeous looking plant. Very proud of this plant. And there's about 8 plants in here, 8 lettuce, and I snuck a little basil back there. Because, you know, why not? You can grow anything you want, so why not grow everything? So over here, we got lettuce that I did not thin out. And I cut this one already. This one was probably cut 2 weeks ago. So this one is already has more foliage than I cut this one 2 weeks ago. As you can see, there's several plants here. This one too. This is probably the best of the lettuce, but I still think that this one definitely has, and the leaves are thicker and fuller, and it's a healthier plant, and it tastes better. Trust me, this tastes better than this. You can see this plant's kind of struggling and has tip burn because it's competing for nutrients of all the other plants. You can see how many roots this has. This has a lot of roots. Here, I could pull this whole thing up. You see all that root mass? In comparison, single plants don't need a lot of root mass. You see how big this plant is up here? You see how little roots they need down here? Barely anything. So over here, all of these plants are competing for the same amount of nutrients, and it kind of stresses this plant out altogether, and then it kind of affects the taste a little bit. It's slightly bitter. It's still edible, it's still delicious, it's still good, it's still, in my opinion, better than store-bought, but this just has that beautiful crunch and a sweet flavor, where this side has a tiny bit of a bitter crunch to it. Still very good. And you can kind of see all these other plants, right? Since these have all been planted at the same time, you can see each of them are kind of like struggling and not really doing better than all of these plants. All of these plants are huge. Like here, this is one plant right here. And it's hard to see. This is one whole plant here. That's one whole plant here. So I decided from now on, I was a bit skeptical, like, why not just throw the seed in there and just whatever? It's such a hassle to cut the plants, but now I'm a believer. So now, from now on, I thin my plants to just one plant. You see here, these are all one plant. And then I usually wait till about the plants are about this big before I go ahead and thin them out, because I don't want to damage any of the ones that I want. So I just use my fingers, or if I want to, like a sharp pair of scissors to kind of clip it in there, but usually you can just squeeze them out. You just go in here like this, and you just find the ones you want, and you just squeeze it out. You can probably eat it. It might taste good, it might taste bitter, depending. That was bitter. So I usually compost those leaves, or if you don't mind a little bitter. These are too young. If I try to thin these out, I'd probably ruin the whole batch. Over here on the left, just in case you're wondering, I have kale that I've harvested several leaves off of. And there used to be several plants down here too, but once I started noticing, I experiment with the thinning and not thinning. I'm a believer of thinning out, so that each of these only have one plant now. Except for my cilantro, which is doing very well, much better than I imagined. Very delicious, very, very, very good cilantro taste. And so, if you're ever wondering whether you want to thin plants out or not, I'm a believer. You should definitely thin out your plants. Thank you for joining me in this video, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.